after probable cause was found to charge a Spokane County sergeant with second-degree assault. That case now has been handed over to an outside agency. You're looking at body camera video. Sergeant Hilton arresting Kevin Hinton last August.
This video was intended to inform and educate the public.
Welcome back to another episode of the Junkyard News. And in today's video news story, almost beaten to death for a $50 infraction. Sheriff's office deactivates and then reactivates their Facebook account after criticism and spam over the 62-year-old bloody arrest. And what was his crime? He was traveling on the road, got tired, and pulled over to watch a video and take a nap. That's right. Some of you out there may be familiar and heard this story back when it was originally published, August of last year. That is when a sheriff's deputy in Washington state was accused of using excessive force for allegedly beating up a 62-year-old man during an arrest. Sergeant Hilton was placed on administrative leave last year, nearly 2 months after the incident, when driver Kevin Hinton said what should have been an uneventful encounter outside a local park turned into a violent confrontation that left the 62-year-old not only bloodied and missing teeth, but having several broken ribs that actually got dislocated and separated from his sternum. You see, Hinton was driving home from a long road trip to visit his newborn grandchild when he stopped to rest in his car at Terrace View Park in Spokane last year on August 14th. I'm sure some of you who have taken long drives realize that once you feel yourself nodding off, it's best to find a safe place to pull over and rest your eyes a little bit, because nobody wants to fall asleep behind the wheel while driving. You see, Hinton had been driving for 11 hours straight and had texted his 2 teenage daughters who lived nearby so he could stop by, but it was late and they didn't respond. So at around 10:30, tired from his long drive, Hinton decided he would park his car in a nearby park where he would often go during visits with his daughters. So Hinton parked his car outside the gates of a park, took off his shoes, and put on a YouTube video to relax and take a nap. He only planned to be there maybe a half hour to an hour, just a quick little refresher snooze, and then back on the road he'd go. But that would not transpire. See, about an hour later, Spokane County Sheriff's Officer Sergeant Hilton, who lived across from the park, on his own decided to stop by and talk to Mr. Hilton. He shined his light into the window of the vehicle and told him he couldn't be at the park after hours, and said he was committing a crime. Now, attorneys have said the park is fenced, and it's debatable whether or not the parking area the man was parked in was even part of the park.
Well, neither in our state or any state or the federal government is the idea of contempt of cop a crime. My client was tired, he was irritated, and he offered to leave immediately when he was informed by the officer that he was in the park after hours. And that is in the first few seconds of the video. He says, okay, I'll go watch my movie someplace else. At best, he was potentially committing a civil infraction. Under no reasonable standard is it okay to met out that kind of a beating because someone disrespected you or had the audacity to argue with you, or in the case of our client actually know the law. When he was accused of committing a crime, he said, no, this is not a crime, this is at best a civil infraction. The other thing to keep in mind is that this assertion that Sergeant Hilton had to know or didn't know who our client was a complete fantasy. Sergeant Hilton parked behind our client's car. He approached our client alone in the dark. There is no way that he did that without running the plate first. If he ran that plate, he knew who the registered owner was. He knew that that car was what's called status 0, meaning no wants or warrants, and also knew that the registered owner of that car was also status 0, meaning no wants or warrants. He also had the ability to instantaneously get a DOL driver's license photo of our client. He knew who he was talking to, and the assertion that he needed his ID to complete this contact is farcical.
Attorneys also note that even if Hinton was in the park, the violation at best would be a civil infraction, not a crime. He could have been issued a ticket using the license plate and the registered owner information and pulled up his driver's license that way, issued the ticket, and been on his way. As you will see, the driver of the vehicle, once informed by the sergeant that he couldn't be there, immediately said, "Oh, no problem. I'll go somewhere else. I'll take off. Thanks for letting me know." But that wasn't enough for the cop. This cop was jonesing. He was literally fainting for his crack. He wanted the ID of this man parked and resting on the side of the road, and he wasn't going to take no for an answer, even if that meant sending the 62-year-old grandfather to the hospital. Body cam footage of the interaction obtained by news agencies shows Hinton telling the sergeant that he'll move his car to a different location. As Hinton comes to close his door, the sergeant tells him he isn't free to leave and requests his identification. Hinton says he refused to give his ID, but he did exit the car when asked, and he tells the sergeant that he didn't commit any crimes. But the sergeant immediately says, "You are refusing to tell me who you are, and you are probably going to end up in jail." Which Hinton responds, "For not giving you my name? Oh, okay then. Well, you have at it." Contempt of cop. At one point, Hilton, the sergeant, can be heard telling Hinton, the driver, that he's going to get hurt. Hinton tells the officer to get his hands off him. A while later, Hinton can be heard sobbing and asking Hilton, "Why did you hit me? Why did you beat me up? Why did you bloody me? Why did you break my teeth? Why did you break my ribs? Why are my ribs no longer attached to my sternum? Why now am I going to have to spend days and days and days in the hospital? Because I didn't willfully give you your crack, your ID fix you need so badly that you're going to send me to the hospital." Now, after this man took a beating and the sergeant had a moment to reflect on what he had just done, do you think he showed any remorse at all? No, quite the opposite. He had a nice texting conversation with dispatch in which he told dispatch, "I think this guy that likes to say no to cops, may have learned his lesson." Dispatcher says, "Oh, I'm sure he did." And that's when Sergeant Hilton says, "You just wait for his booking photo." And dispatch replies, "Oh boy, I will. Can't wait." Now, the 62-year-old grandfather isn't just suing the Spokane Sheriff's Department. He is also suing the EMTs that police called to release him for booking. This man was so severely beaten that when he got to jail, the jail would not admit him and literally forced the police to take him to the hospital. And after tests, he was quickly admitted to the hospital, where he remained for days because of broken ribs, because of ribs being detached from the sternum, among many other medical needs. He had a punctured lung. His lip on his face is now disfigured permanently, all because he had the audacity to say no to a cop that was fiending for his fix. Now, this isn't the first lawsuit that has fallen into the lap of this Leo. There was a previous case that made it up to an appeals court, where an appeals court judge, for the most part, was very disturbed about this sergeant. And in the court records, the appellate court judge actually talked down to the sergeant, pretty much called him a danger to society. And when you have an appellate court judge calling a Leo a danger to the community and a danger to the public, you would think that that cop wouldn't be a cop much longer, but that's not the case. The status quo remained the same, and now a 62-year-old suffered for it. Now, when all this came to light last year, after an investigation, it was found that the sergeant did commit a crime against this man. And the report was filed with an outside prosecutor to prosecute the case. And a year later, nothing has happened. When asked if the prosecutor's office is ever going to file a charge against this sergeant, they didn't comment. They said, "We'll have to wait and see." To top it all off, when this story first broke last year and the body cam footage was released, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office Facebook page got slammed. It got inundated with comments by people exercising their First Amendment right in what this Leo did to this 62-year-old grandfather. People were outraged. But instead of making a public comment and saying, "No, we understand, we hear you guys," and just putting up with it, after all, it's their sergeant's fault all this happened, right? Instead of owning it, they hid. They got so tired of the negative comments and what they claimed to be threats at one point that they shut down the Facebook page of the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. It disappeared. Boop! Like a fart in the wind. Well, it's back up now, and now that this is making news again because of the federal lawsuit that was filed, I am eagerly awaiting the response of the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, especially on their Facebook page. Is history going to repeat itself? Is their Facebook page going to get again so inundated with negative comments about this story that they're going to chicken out and hide and suspend their account on Facebook again? The top pinned comment will have the link to their Facebook page. Why don't you click it and see if it's still up and running after you watch this video? Who knows if they scrubbed all those comments or not, violating people's First Amendment right. You'll have to go to their Facebook page and see for yourself. Who knows? By the time you finish watching this video, they may take their page down again. You can always click the link and see if it's still up. And if you feel the need to express your First Amendment right about this story, feel free. I'm dying to see if that page stays up due to this story recirculating in the news and the new federal lawsuit being filed. Thank you again for watching this episode of the Junkyard News. Be careful, people. The next video news story that we cover on this channel, it could include you in the next one. Thanks again.
You're looking at body camera video, Sergeant Clay Hilton arresting Kevin Hinton last August.
So Hinton's attorneys brought the body cam footage to light a couple of months after his August arrest. Ultimately, an investigation by the Spokane Police Department found Sergeant Hilton used excessive force.
The Spokane County Sheriff's deputy behind the body camera is accused of beating that man to a point that he had to be hospitalized for days after. Now that man has filed a federal lawsuit. When Hinton wouldn't hand over his ID, the situation escalated, and his attorney says Sergeant Hilton beat him to the point where he suffered 8 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and a concussion. Spokane Police later investigated the incident and found there was probable cause to charge the sergeant with assault. Since then, there has been no word from prosecutors on next steps, but today, Hinton filed a federal lawsuit against several parties, including Sergeant Hilton, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, the City of Spokane Valley, and the American Medical Response Ambulance Service. In the lawsuit, Hinton accuses them of several things, including excessive force, deliberate indifference, and negligence. The complaint states in part that the Sheriff's Office, quote, rubber-stamped their approval of an officer's use of force despite clear evidence to the contrary, unquote. I spoke with Hinton's attorney back in February. He told me this incident left his client shaken to the core and that it should never have happened.
It's a civil offense.
It's not. Do you have your ID?
Really? No, I don't have my ID on me.
Well, I'll take another.
You're not getting my ID for sitting in a parking lot now. Sorry.
Yeah.
So.
Whose car are you in?
Pardon me?
You're not shutting the door on me.
I'm not shutting the door. I'm rolling the window down. Now you can shut my door.
I am not shutting the door. I need your name. You are not free to leave.
I'm not giving you my name.
Okay. 551. I'll take those units code. Putting your shoes on for you. You're not going anywhere.
And why is that, sir?
Why? Because you're refusing to tell me who you are, and you're probably going to end up going to jail.
Oh, for not giving you my name.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, then you have at it.
Okay. Go ahead and stand up for me. Turn around, face the car. Turn around, face the car.
Don't put your hands on me, pal. Listen.
You are going to get hurt.
Videos uploaded by the Junkyard News are helped in part by viewers just like you. You can show your support for this channel by clicking the thumbs up, sharing our videos, or hitting that all-important support button on our channel page. Don't want to miss a video or a story? Make sure to check us out and like us on Facebook at The Junkyard News.